Ravens flock, the flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The flock rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's dive into the injury report. We'll start there. Yesterday, half the line or three starters of the offensive line were not practicing today. Tyler Linderbaum and Patrick McCary returned to practice, but we're still without Jalen Armour-Davis. And then the most important, interesting piece in this situation is Andrew Vorhees misses a second consecutive practice. Now, Friday's injury report will be the most telling, so not putting a ton of weight into it right now, but it's definitely something interesting to talk about. Missing one practice, the first day of practice on a Wednesday, not a huge deal. If anyone's dealing with anything, a lot of the time they miss that day of practice. But not coming back today, if he were to not practice tomorrow as well, then you can pretty much rule Voorhees out for Sunday. And that creates an interesting dilemma because we haven't had a different O-line the entire year. I know they've rotated in Rosengarten, but that's it. You know, it's been this unit. So if Voorhees can't go, we need a left guard. Now, we have a few options. We could move McCary from right tackle to left guard and start Roger Rosengarten and give him a lot of time. Or there's Josh Jones, who's a backup guard that has played plenty of left guard before on different teams. He was on Houston Texans, I believe, last year, and he played guard, so he could fill in there. Regardless, there's probably going to be a change unless Voorhees comes back to practice tomorrow. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I was really looking forward to the offensive line, hopefully building off of their Cowboys performance. I know the Bills are a bit more talented, or at least playing better. I don't know about individual player talent, but they're playing better on their defensive front than the Cowboys are for sure. So I was looking for another test for this offensive line, but if we're missing Voorhees, then that does change the chemistry and the individuals a little bit that are out there. So who knows what we're getting. We haven't seen Josh Jones in a premier role for us at all. Even in the preseason, he was running with the backup. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. We'll see what happens if Voorhees can come back or not. Also came across some news today that the Ravens tried to trade for Justin Fields in the offseason, or at least called and showed some interest. And I totally get it from the Ravens standpoint. That would have been a great backup option for a very low cost. But then on the other hand, you got to understand why Justin Fields wouldn't pick a team like the Ravens. I think the Chargers also showed some interest, and then the Steelers, obviously. But out of those options, if I'm Justin Fields, I'm picking Pittsburgh because they have the most unknown, unsure QB situation, and it's really played out in his favor. Russell Wilson gets signed for a very cheap deal, ends up having a calf injury. Fields gets tossed in. Now he's the starter for the foreseeable future unless he really starts messing up. I don't think that they're just going to bench him if they're playing well and winning games and he's making good decisions and playing pretty smart, which he is. And he's more athletic and has more upside than Russell Wilson at this point in his career. So I think it worked out for Fields. It worked out for Pittsburgh. You know, we see these reports a lot that the Ravens called or tried to trade or almost had a trade done for this and that player. And it really just shows Eric DeCosta's aggressiveness, I think, and his work ethic. I don't really think there's anything else to it. We do pull off a lot of moves as well, but it just seems like we're always kind of looking and contacting agents and players and trying to see what at least the landscape is. And I know that every team, it sounds like they should be doing that, but the Ravens keep coming up on these list of teams that are interested or tried to make an attempt. So I think that that's just strong work ethic by Eric DeCosta, exhausting all options. You know, let's see what Fields wants. You know, a 6th round pick. Yeah, like, sign us up. We'll trade a 5th, 6th round pick for Justin Fields, but obviously Fields wants an opportunity to start, and with Lamar Jackson in front of him, that's just not going to happen. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, he spoke to the media yesterday and had a cool segment about Tom Brady giving him a nickname, the Eraser, and just kind of praising Lamar for his play, and this is what Lamar had to say about it.
I said, that's the GOAT, man. That's the only guy in the league with 7 Super Bowls. Well, not in the league, but like former player, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play the game with 7 Super Bowls, and for him to give me a nickname, the Eraser, and how he but judge my game is just dope. It's dope for me to hear.
Not saying Tom Brady's the best commentator right now. I think he definitely will improve. He's got a long TV deal. He's going to get better, but it is cool to hear him on there giving his opinions and just fluid conversation about a lot of the guys that are on the field, especially Lamar Jackson. Like, as Ravens fans, we've been watching Lamar very closely. We know how great he is, how dominant he is, but it's definitely cool to hear from a guy like Tom Brady who has really accomplished it all. That goes a long way with the players, and most of the players in the league are always praising Lamar. We heard Davante Adams say that he's the greatest ball carrier he's ever seen, and Davante was studying Lamar's moves and on the field to get his game better. And then you got Tom Brady saying that Lamar erases bad football and basically can overcome any mistake, which we've seen him do with the offensive line all the time. There was a stat I just came across that the Ravens are top 5 in pass protection from the O-line, and that's really a credit to Lamar. I'm not saying that the line isn't doing okay at pass protecting, but let's be real, Lamar Jackson doesn't get sacked as often as a lot of other quarterbacks would be because of his shiftiness and his awareness in the pocket, his ability to escape any type of pressure and just avoid contact in general. He's a magician at it, man, and he literally is the eraser of bad football. Whenever there's mistakes going on by other guys on the team, Lamar can overcome it most of the time. So just cool to hear Tom Brady give Lamar some love. I know there's a lot of Lamar hate in the media, and a lot of fans of other teams, always say he sucks, can't throw, and just these awful narratives. So it's cool that the narrative can shift a little bit when you got the greats of the game, all-time greats of the game, giving Lamar his praise and recognizing his greatness in real time. We also heard from Justin Tucker on his kicking slump. This is what he had to say.
Into Sunday Night Football ready to roll like we always do. I'm confident in what Nick has been doing and what Jordan has been doing from a snapping and a holding perspective. And then, guys blocking up front, they have all been consistent. Anytime our defense gets a stop, our offense moves the ball down the field, it's my job to reward the rest of the team and their hard work with points on the board. And something I take a lot of pride in, and something that I will continue to be working at.
I know we've talked about this a few times this year, but I am very confident that he can get out of this slump. Now, if it continues all year long, then we can have a different conversation, but there's really nothing to say that he's not going to be able to start making kicks consistently again. I like that he's missing it the same exact way every single time. It's not like he's trying a bunch of different techniques and he's all over the place. It's just a little left, and his power is still there, which is really important. So it's not a distance issue. It's nothing like that. And I'm just very confident that he's going to get this dialed in and that we're not going to have to worry about it, because it is on the back of our minds as fans right now. Like Sunday night, Justin Tucker's lining up for 48-yarder 46 he missed the other week, a 46-yarder to a 60-plus yarder, and we're not feeling confident at all. We're probably like a 2 out of 10 confidence at this point. So hopefully he gets an opportunity to bang one of those through. Actually, I kind of hope he doesn't. I hope we're just scoring touchdowns nonstop and he can kick extra points. But if he does get an opportunity to kick a 50-plus yarder or a long-distance field goal, I'm just really hoping that he boots it through and can get this turned around. The narrative will easily change. We won't even be talking about this slump. There's also been a lot of Lamar Jackson, Marlon Humphrey podcast dialogue going on the internet this week. I don't like to show a ton of attention to things like that, but I do want to point out that I appreciate Lamar being locked in. When he was on the plane and told Marlon, like, nah, man, like, you shouldn't even be on live right now.
Got the dub. Got the dub. Keep stacking. We shouldn't even be live right now. Like, we need to get right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Never a good situation to be in. Really.
We shouldn't even be live right now. Like, we need to get right.
Bleacher Report, ESPN, they're all pushing this agenda that Lamar Jackson is not a fan of you.
I mean, I feel like he's been very vocal about this throughout the years in the media. He wants to win the big one, or he ain't really going to be too happy. I mean, that's a guy that's daggum striving for excellence, and I like it.
And I understand the human aspect too, right? Like, not every football player is going to carry what happened in the game with them outside of the game. They have a real life. They're a human being too. It's not just all football. But for Lamar, it is kind of that way, at least mentally. He wants this team to do so well and gets frustrated if they're not performing up to their ability. And we know that this team is way better than a 1-2 record. Let's be real. So I like that he spoke up about it. It does set a little bit of a tone, you know, especially because there's some internet buzz around it. And I think a lot of people are defending Lamar in this situation. And I'm not bashing Marlon Humphrey in any way either. I mean, he's a clown, bro. Like he's an entertainer, you know, he's very sarcastic and tries to be funny a lot. And on the football field, he is playing well. I know there's this weird narrative by some fans saying that Marlon's not playing well, but if you turn on the tape, he's playing really well. Sure, he let up some contested catches here and there to some talented receivers, but he's on them, man. Like Marlon's playing well. But off the football field, Marlon to me is just like entertainment only, you know, like the podcast that him and Jack have is entertainment. They're not even talking a lot about the ins and outs of what's going on with the team and things like that. And sure, you could clip things up a certain way. He doesn't take things serious, but on the field, he balls, man. He's pretty serious on the field. So I don't think that this is a big deal at all. I don't think there's anything going on. There's no beef between Lamar and Humphrey. Some people try to title their videos to portray it that way, but there is no beef. It's just two different types of people, man. Lamar is locked in. He's competitive. He's not about social media that much. Yeah, he's get on Twitter and type some stuff to troll, but he's not putting himself out there. He's not putting his personal life out there. He's not talking about himself a lot. He doesn't love to be on camera. Marlon's the opposite. He doesn't mind being on camera. He has a podcast that he goes on every week and talks, and a lot of players are doing this around the league. I just wanted to give my thoughts on that situation because I haven't talked about it or shown any attention to it throughout the week. I just knew it wasn't a big deal and doesn't really affect anything on the field. But I do like that Lamar is trying to set a tone with this team, and you know, even if we win one game, we got a bigger goal in mind here. We got a long journey to go try and chase a Lombardi and get that first Super Bowl for Lamar and a lot of these guys and get the third Super Bowl for the Baltimore Ravens. But that's it for today, guys. Preview episode tomorrow. We'll also have more information on Vorhees and the offensive line situation tomorrow. So don't miss the preview episode. We got a banger of a game this Sunday night in Baltimore against the Buffalo Bills. But I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.